With Gary Klein, I'm Lindsay Theory for the Los Angeles Times in Oxnard, where the Rams have wrapped up week 2 of OTAs and the rookies have signed their contracts. Of course, the big payday went to number 1 overall pick, Jared Goff. Gary, exactly how big was that payday?
No terms officially disclosed yet in terms of how much Jared Goff went, but if we look at Carson Wentz, the number 2 pick, who signed with the Philadelphia Eagles for about $27 million for-year contract, you can assume that Jared Goff is probably in about the $28 million range with a huge signing bonus. So 21 years old, he's pretty much set, and the 5 other players that the Rams took in the draft also under contract as they move into this final week of OTAs.
Thanks for the emphasis on the million part of that. Okay, so week 3 coming up. Jared Goff has been the story through the first 2 weeks. Of course, he'll continue to be the story through the 3rd, where he could be taking reps with the first team for the first time.
Jeff Fisher said at the outset of OTAs that he envisioned Goff taking snaps with the first unit by the end of these workouts. So whether that comes on Tuesday when they resume workouts with a practice that is not open to the media, or it's done Wednesday or Friday as they conclude these workouts, I don't think it's going to be any surprise if we see Jared Goff under center or in the shotgun formation running with the first group.
No pads in OTAs, and of course there's not supposed to be any hitting, but today there was a collision. Trumaine Johnson, the cornerback, went down. He laid on the ground for a few minutes, I should say, before he walked off on his own with a little bit of assistance from the trainers. No update from Jeff Fisher, though, because he was not available to the media today.
Yeah, and he did walk off the field under his own power, but I think it was a reminder that regardless of what you call this, or they're out there on the field, they're running their plays, they're competitive people, and things like that happen. So Fisher has held guys out of practices to give them rest days, and I think probably to prevent these kinds of situations. So as they get into that final week, I think the emphasis is going to be on keeping people healthy going into the summer and getting ready for training camp.
And as we've already mentioned now a couple of times, it will be the final week. What do you expect to see?
I just think you'll see more of the rookies getting those opportunities. We talked about Jared Goff as kind of the marquee guy, but I think some of those receivers, Pharaoh Cooper, tight end, Tyler Higbee, those kinds of guys I think we're going to see worked into the first groups to give the coaches a sense of what they can do going into training camp, and to give those players a sense of what they may need to work on before they get into that situation down in UC Irvine.
That'll do it for us from Oxnard. Once again, the Rams will continue OTAs next week. The media will be back in on Wednesday. With the Los Angeles Times, this is Gary Klein. I'm Lindsay Theory.